I was part of this one big scene where we're in a convention and we're all naked supposedly, and we're all being taught to say yes, yes, yes to
Oh,
life,
yeah.
right?
Welcome to the podcast. Súbele volumen. Conversation with the people who were with me. In the world TV. Carlos tonight. Carlos tonight.
Welcome to Carlos Tonight. I'm Carlos Correa, and this is my very first episode.
Carlos tonight. Dale que viene lo bueno.
Before we get things started, a little bit about me. I was born in Colombia, raised in Chicago. I was a journalist for 22 years. The last 17, I was on TV, and I loved every minute of it. You know, the best part about my job was meeting people from all walks of life and telling their stories. Each person I met inspired me in one way or another, and throughout this journey, I'll talk about that as I catch up with some of them, and you'll learn more about me. Hey, thanks for being here. So it was 5 years ago this month that I met one of the most talented and ambitious human beings I've ever met. Our encounter was brief, but in that small moment, I knew there was something special about this guy. His name is David Fernandez Jr. He's an actor, a producer, and a director. I follow him on social media. You, my friend David, have been an inspiration to me, and I'm so excited that you are my inaugural guest on my new podcast. David
Yay!
Fernandez Jr., welcome.
I love it, brother. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me, and it's an honor, brother. I respect and admire you as well, so the feeling is mutual.
Thank you. I want to talk to you about a lot of things, but I know that you're a busy guy, so let's dive right into it. First and foremost, how have you been during this whole COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, at the beginning, I kind of decided to not watch the news, not focus on all the negative energy that was being put out there, and I decided to focus on the positive. So it was going well, and I decided to be productive as well. So from there, I birthed my Earn Your Life podcast and also my Earn Your Life app. I also learned how to edit, so I kept busy. You know, I was just trying to stay busy, be productive, and to feel good once we got out of this whole COVID, which we didn't know how long it was going to be, you know?
Yeah, totally. I know during the pandemic, I started reading more. I started watching a lot of television shows, a lot of movies, and I'm also, I'm still healing because almost a year ago, I had a car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so blessed that I'm alive. And it wasn't until the accident where I started to think how precious life is.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm also lucky that I have a job to go to, because there's a lot of people out there that are out of work and they're struggling to, pay their bills and struggling to put food on the table. And in these dark times, at least for me, I like to turn to like inspirational quotes and pictures and books, and that's everything that you offer in this app.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about this. First of all, you have a podcast.
Yes.
And that you mentioned. And then tell me about this topic that we're talking about in your free app called Earn Your Life.
Yes. So I love that you shared all that right now. I knew that a lot of people were struggling, whether mentally, financially, emotionally, spiritually, on whatever level. I knew that we were struggling collectively. And so I wanted to do my part to spread light and love, brother, to be the reminder that we are loved, that we do have this, Earn Your Life was birthed, like where Earn Your Life comes from is me losing a son at 21 years old and holding him dead in my hands, brother. And that's when I realized how fragile life was and how sacred life is. You know, we get to be in this vehicle, in this vessel, this body for such a short period of time. And I want to earn my life every day, brother. I want to, be in gratitude and appreciate every moment, because we truly don't know when it's our time to go. And so I really am very aware of that. And so in saying that, I decided to do my part and spread love. I captured the essence and the golden nuggets of the message of each, master that I would say, right? Each person that's up there has proven results, has been very successful on many different levels. And I captured their message and then also the Earn Your Life podcast, which has been a big hit. I'm getting a lot of response, a lot of feedback, a lot of love from the podcast.
Awesome.
And so it's been a blessing, brother. I honestly, before this year, I heard about podcasts, but I never listened to podcasts. So I was just like, oh, man, who's going to want to listen? But, brother, I was completely wrong.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, and so I'm excited, man. I'm excited that people are resonating with. I just like to keep it real and share my heart with our guests. I've had amazing guests. And so that's what Earn Your Life app is.
And I know with the app, you mentioned the positive pictures. And I remember going to the gym about 10 years ago, hardcore, losing weight, lifting weights. And I remember all the pictures that I used to post on my walls just to kind of get me through a rough workout and a rough, day.
Yeah.
And nowadays, especially with COVID, I've been using a lot of quotes to help me get through, the funk. And
there you go.
And then from time to time, I'll do a motivational Monday on social media. And, for the longest time, people weren't liking it or anything like that until one day there was a quote that I posted that someone who's popular on Twitter actually shared it. And so that kind of gave me the confidence and motivation to keep posting, and then I saw your app and I was like, oh my God, so awesome. Like, why do you think these pictures and these quotes relate to people and help people?
You know what? Isn't it interesting that you could hear someone talk for an hour and it's like, oh, that's pretty awesome. But then you come across a quote or like a little, just a picture with like a positive quote or inspirational quote, and it really hits you. It's kind of like these one or two liners or three sentences, whatever the case is, that like you read and they resonate with you and they really hit home. And they're also easier to remember. So it's like someone can speak for an hour and it's like you might not remember everything they shared, maybe a couple things that you resonated with or whatever. With the picture, like you can look at it whenever you want, you can see it, you can reflect on it, think about it. And it's a powerful tool. And I think that, I use them, they've been beneficial to me. And that's really what the Earn Your Life app is that it's an extension of my heart, my brother.
Awesome.
Everything that I've been able to produce, everything that I've been able to create for myself is because of these quotes and videos. Like every day in my car, I don't even listen to music. I'm listening to Tony Robbins, Les Brown, anyone that is Michael Singer, anyone that I'm resonating with during that moment or time or whatever. I mean, I'm on my YouTube. All my recommendations are all positive videos. So I just kind of turn on my car, pop in my phone, and click on the first video, and it's beautiful. And I think that's kind of like one of the messages that I like to share to the world is and to your followers and listeners is that what we focus on grows. That's what's going to grow. Mm-hmm. And our brain is a supercomputer. We have this reticular activating system, right? And so if we're coming from a belief system of, life sucks, life is so hard, or whatever the case is, that programming, our brain is going to continue to select those type of experiences or things that are in connection or in alignment with our belief system. That's how powerful our brain is. Our brain only shows us like 2% of what we get exposed to every day. Why? Because it's keeping us safe in essence, right? It's protecting us, because if we were to take in everything that we see in just one day, we would be completely overwhelmed. And so it selects what it's choosing to see through our belief system. So in essence, think about how deep and how profound that is, right? Is that if we have a belief system that life is beautiful, life's amazing, and we deserve everything we want, then guess what? Our brain will select those experiences, and let's say there's like 15 negative things around us for the day. It'll find that one positive that's in alignment with our belief system. And on the other side of the spectrum, it's the same thing. If we're in fear, if we have the "I'm not good enough" program, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, then we will create those experiences, and our brain will select those experiences to validate and to be in alignment with our belief system. Our brain is a supercomputer, my brother, more complex than Google, than Facebook. It is a supercomputer. And I think the time is now where this awakening is happening, where we're realizing that we truly create our own reality. And I go back to that same thing. What we water will grow. What we see, what we focus on our energy on will grow. And we truly, truly can choose and create our experience. And let's say we're in depression, we can completely get out of that depression. Let's say anxiety, we can overcome that. We can conquer that. I'm dealing with that right now and at the finish line when it comes to that stuff. And once I feel I completely mastered and overcame the panic attack, anxiety, and all that, I'm going to write an anxiety book, brother, a small little anxiety handbook for people, because I know that the more that I'm open in regards to that, the more I've connected with more people that are experiencing the same thing. And mental health, brother, is a big, big topic that we don't talk about.
Exactly,
and we have to talk about it now, my brother. I mean,
especially
if you
nowadays.
look at, especially nowadays, especially like, it's just so crazy. Maybe this is happening for us to wake up and to start talking about mental health and to start talking about, you know, the things that affect us, and to get vulnerable and to get open. Because in my experience, when I've been the most vulnerable and the most open, I've connected in the most beautiful ways with other people. And I think that if we were to all do that more and more, this world would be such a beautiful, happier place, my brother. You know
Amen.
what I'm saying?
Amen.
Yes, yes, yes.
What I like about the app is the video section that you mentioned. You have Oprah Winfrey, you have Michelle Obama, Pitbull, and then you have Jim Carey with some uplifting messages. And it's funny because on my Twitter, I have Jim Carrey's, he has a quote from an interview he did on 60 Minutes this past summer. And the quote is, "Faith is better than hope. Hope walks through the fire and faith leaps over it."
I love that, bro. I love that. I love that.
Thank you. Is there like a particular quote from those videos that stand out to you?
Man, I love them all, bro. I've literally handpicked all of the content that's on my app. I've literally handpicked it to say. You know what? I'll share this one, because this one I've been really resonating with right now a lot, right? And it's in regards to like the brain and the heart, ego and love, right? And God or the universe or whatever title you want to put into it. But one of my mentors, you know, he shared this with me while I was going through a full-blown panic attack, and I was calling him for support. He said, "When it's hard, it's ego, it's the brain. When it's easy and it's in flow state, it's God, it's the heart, it's the universe," you know? And it's so powerful, brother, because as I was going through this panic attack, I was resisting it, I was fighting it. And in essence, it was kind of like my brain was trying to stay in control, or the ego was trying to maintain control. And the more that I tried to do that, the worse the anxiety and panic attack was. The minute that I dropped down to my heart and I surrendered and I cried and I released and I was seen, right, by my family, it went away, brother. And I think it's such a powerful message that I want to share to the world, because bro, I'm telling you, like, I was fighting it, and it's not like I'm going into it, or I wasn't going into it like, oh, I'm going to fight this, like, I'm going to control this. No, it was me. I was in survival because I was in fear state. My whole body was in fear vibration. Didn't even know why. I couldn't answer when, you know, my family's asking me like, hey, well, so what are you afraid of? What are you thinking? I didn't have an answer, my brother. And then finally, when I just couldn't do it anymore. I literally ran out of my house, and I had to be with I had to get air and be with nature, and you know, my family was there with me and comforting me, and literally I finally, like, it's like I got on my knees in essence, right? And completely surrendered. And when I did that, brother, the messages came. The clarity came. What came from this last panic attacks, and I had buried this so much, is that like I didn't even realize it was a program that was running me, right? But as a little child, I grew up with two parents that didn't really have self-worth, or value themselves, and the I'm not good enough program was running in their lives. And I love them so much, and I don't blame them at all, you know what I mean? But I know that the little that I know of my parents' lives, like they were literally like freaking forced to believe that they were not good enough, by getting whipped. My mom has scars on the back of her leg. She never wore skirts or dresses because of the shame that carried with the scars, because my grandpa would like hit her with the chicote, with the rope and wire, chicken wire, and whatever he could put his hands on. So right now I'm dealing with like this internal conflict because I have this I'm not good enough program that has been cemented in me since I was a little kid. And what I'm doing is I'm stepping out of, in the unknown, and I'm stepping into my higher self, and I'm going for these huge dreams. And so that's the conflict. Why? Because of fear. I'm a fear of success. And that's what came in this last panic attack. The fear of success showed up. And then I asked myself, okay, that's a result of a core truth. What's the core truth? And that's when I discovered or unburied that I'm not good enough. And so I want to share this with you, brother, because I feel it's so powerful, and I really hope it supports your listeners, okay? So 5 days ago, bro, I had that panic about a month ago. I've been kind of like in and out, struggling. Like, the way the panic attack shows up is like I can't take a deep breath. You know what I mean? It's like I don't wish it on my worst enemy, man. It's the most worst feeling in the world to not be able to like truly take a deep breath. And so been struggling with that for about a whole month. And 5 days ago, bro, I was kind of in bed at nighttime, and I'm starting like, okay, I can't take that deep breath. It's kind of like my brain had this trigger where like, hey, check to see if you can take a deep breath, because I really went through some trauma when I had my first panic attack a month ago. And so, and how I had it, just so you know, so it all makes sense. At like 3 a.m, I abruptly woke up. Something like abruptly woke me up, and I was half between asleep and awake, and I couldn't breathe, brother. I was having a panic attack in that moment. You know what I'm saying? And so it scared me. So now, flash forward to these last 5 days ago. I'm struggling with that breathing, and then, I kind of call my family to support me again, and they start questioning, like, okay, what are you afraid of? What are you stressed about? Like, start asking questions. And at the beginning, I was kind of like in victim, right? I was like, I don't know. I'm just in survival, trying to catch my breath. And then all of a sudden, my brother, I don't know if it was God, the universe, my higher self. I don't know if it was my ancestors, my guides. I don't know what it was, but intuitively, something in my heart said, David, it's time to do some work. And I was like, it was with conviction, my brother. It was like this knowing where enough was enough. I have to do this work. So I get on one knee. I'm holding myself up kind of with my drawer. I was in my room. I get on one knee, and I start talking to my 5-year-old little boy self, like my 5-year-old version of me. And I started crying, brother. And it was a soul cry. And I started kind of like I was hugging him, okay? Like I brought him close to me. And I had my eyes closed during this, and I'm talking to him. And as I'm crying, I'm like, you know what? You've never been a bad little boy. You're safe now. I forgive you. I love you. You were never a bad boy. You're okay now. Now it's time to release that bad little boy and step into loving yourself. My brother, one of the most profound, I'm getting goosebumps right now. One of the most profound experiences I've ever had, my brother. I was releasing. And you know what's so crazy is that going back to losing my son at 21, when I was in the hospital room holding my dead son in my hands, he fit in my hands. He was 5 months old. His lungs weren't developed, okay? Trip on these connections right here. When I was he was dead in my hands, and I kind of was talking to him like he was alive. And I kept telling him, I'm going to teach you not to do this. I'm going to teach you not to do that. Everything bad that I was doing at age 21, I was going to teach him on how not to do that, right? And then I said his name. His name was David. I said his name, brother, and it's like he tried to take a deep breath. His whole body moved, brother. And I almost dropped him the first time. That's how much it scared me. This is 100% truth, bro. And I kept going, kept talking to him, and I was like, what's going on? It felt very spiritual, right? I said his name again. He tried to take that deep breath again, brother. The doctors told me that it was like some type of spasm after the death or whatever, but it's so interesting how it happened the 3 times that I said his name. The next day, brother, I can't breathe. They're telling me I don't have asthma. I just knew I couldn't breathe. And so they put me on ventilator, you know, the inhalers and all that. For 20-something years, I've been using the inhaler on and off, bro. Anytime I felt I couldn't breathe, it was probably anxiety. I just very, very light anxiety, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I translated it into like, oh, I can't breathe. I got to take an inhaler shot, right? And that was like, helped me calm down without even me realizing, if that makes sense. I used it as self-medication in essence, right? So now going back, I started thinking about my son again, and I finally realized why I took on that I couldn't breathe. It was because of the I'm Not Good Enough program. I couldn't save my son, brother. I couldn't save my son. At age 21, with the little tools that I had, I took, because of the I'm Not Good Enough program that I wasn't even aware of then, because I've always been hard on myself. Now that I realize, I've always been hard on myself, brother. And it all came full circle for me, because I took on the loss of my son, and I took on the when he tried to, you know, that spasm when he tried to breathe, I took it on like I couldn't breathe. It was kind of, in essence, like I was kind of like punishing myself, bro. Like I was punishing myself because of the I'm Not Good Enough program that was running, and I interpreted it as I wasn't good enough to save him. So it's kind of like punishment, you know. It's like the bad little boy couldn't save him, and that's what I took on for years and years of my life, brother. And what I'm telling your listeners right now, my brother, is that this panic attack was the most beautiful blessing that I ever could have had, because it forced me. It was like my body was now forcing me. My spirit, my heart was forcing me to face that part of myself. Why? Because I have to get ready to receive this huge dream that I'm knocking at the door right now, brother. I'm knocking at the door of this huge dream that I've been working on. I can say preparing for my whole life, but in essence, really working on it for the last 4.5 years. I'm in a way better place. I'm more peaceful, and I'm still working through it. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't go from one day to the next. You know, I was carrying my whole life's years of trauma, and I've just released it, you know, but it was major step for it. And yeah, brother, I know that I was long-winded on this answer, but I felt that it was important.
No, because I feel like it's an important story, because a lot of people are probably experiencing the same thing.
Exactly, bro, on many different levels, but the same thing. Exactly.
Right. Wow. I love it. Thank you for sharing that with the audience.
Yeah, you got it.
We were talking earlier about movies.
Yeah.
And I was telling you before we started the podcast that I noticed the other night, End of Watch is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And you played Spooky in the film. How has that role changed your career? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, that was your first like big movie, right?
Yeah. It opened up a lot of doors, my brother. It opened me up to Sons of Anarchy. I went to Weeds and Justified after that. You know, I worked with Eva Longoria and Lowriders, you know, with you know, Theo Rossi from Sons of Anarchy as well. And it was an ensemble cast, and Miami Cheese. I've been blessed. You know, I'm producing now. I'm directing more, and I want to tell the stories that I want to tell that are dear to my heart, and hopefully they make an impact in people's lives.
Yeah, we need it. You know that you mentioned Sons of Anarchy. That's one of my favorite shows.
Oh, that's awesome.
My question: any chance we'll ever get to see you on the Mayans, which is the spinoff?
Oh, my brother, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I couldn't be on the first couple seasons because I was on Sons of Anarchy, and it was a role that it got a lot of attention, man. And so it was one of the top 5 highest rating Sons of Anarchy episodes. So I'm still getting paid on that episode, and I did it about 8-9 years ago. How crazy is that?
Nice.
Right? But yeah, it's kind of deep. So why you even asked that? It's funny how you asked that question, because yesterday I'm talking to my manager, and she's submitting me for Mayans right now. So we'll see how it
Yes.
goes. But who knows, brother? I'll keep you, like, the minute that if I were to book Mayans, I will call you personally and let you know,
Awesome.
my brother.
I'm going to
for
be
sure.
praying for you that you get it.
Yeah. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
One thing that we'll see you for sure is the Selena TV series on Netflix.
Yeah, I play David Kramer. He's a personal bodyguard of Selena, and this is a cool story that I'd love to share with the audience, brother. Is that through my process as an actor, I knew that he was alive, and I went looking for him. And the power of social media, brother, I was able to connect with the real David Kramer, and I reached out, he responded, we got on the phone. We're now friends, bro. And the first time that we were on the phone, we spent 4.5 hours on the phone.
Wow.
He was such a giving and beautiful soul, man. Like, we cried. He cried thinking of Selena. You know what I'm saying? Like, he loved her as a daughter, brother. He was a personal bodyguard for her, and he loved her as his daughter. He was very loyal to the family. A lot of people don't know this, but when Selena transitioned, David Kramer took over the boutique for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And, not a lot of people know of David Kramer. They will now with the new Netflix series. And I'm so glad. I'm so proud, because he deserves to get some support, some love, you know what I mean, in that way. And that's the cool thing about the series, is that they're going to dive deeper into Selena's life. And I think that's just such a beautiful thing. I feel blessed to be a part of her legacy, my brother. And yeah, man, he shared so many beautiful stories, that, like, intimate stories that, like, no one knows other than him and the people that were there with Selena in those stories. And some are funny, some are very intimate, very beautiful. And I feel like I know Selena on another level, because through David Kramer and through that process, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, it's going to be cool, brother.
We'll talk real quick about A Father's Journey, which is a movie that you not only starred in, but also directed.
Yes.
And it's also how we met. I was a reporter in San Diego. I was new to the city.
So cool.
And my assignment that day was to talk to you about the film. Not sure if you remember, but how nervous were you at that time, if at all?
Oh, I'm going to tell you this. First of all, I have to pay my respects to you and honor you, brother, because, I was really on a big marketing campaign to promote my movie. And I always remember your segment, because you really, really showed me love, man. And you've supported me even with the Lowriders movie. Like, you always supported me, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing so, man. But yeah, if anything, I think I was nervous, because it was my first film. I was bringing it to San Diego. I knew that we had already sold out an 800-seat venue at Lincoln High School, and it was kind of like I wanted to bring Hollywood to San Diego, and I felt like it was a successful event. But yeah, I was nervous, just because it was my first time directing and producing and starring and all kinds of stuff. And, it was also a very special movie, because it was dedicated for my cousin that had passed away. And I just wanted to highlight a beautiful Latino family, a good relationship between a dad and his son, and the power of healing and love when it comes to family,
Right. And I'll be honest with you. I've done a lot of interviews, and the one I did with you on September 2016, I left it with so much happiness, because a lot of times I interview someone and it's just on the go and then you forget about it. But the one I did with you, for some reason, it kind of stuck with me as well. And I think it's because of the, your great outlook on life that kind of inspired me and motivated me. And where do you think that all comes from?
Man, you know what? I get asked this question, right? That people always ask me, is like, how are you so positive, David? How are you so positive, right? And my answer, and this is my 100% truth, right?
Right.
Is that I've been to the darkness, my brother. I think that I've been exposed, and I got woken up very early through trauma. And at the same time, I had this like little fighting spirit in me, where I always asked myself, even as a little kid, why why do my parents have to be mad or sad? Why can't they be happy? You know what I mean? And I always looked for people that were in alignment with, happy and joy. And so I learned from them. I was like a student of them and wanting to change my family's life. And I'm proud to say that, and I get emotional when I say this, brother, because it's been like the biggest freaking journey in the world, but I'm proud to say that I'm changing.
Good to hear. Love
that. My family's generational history on many different levels.
David, how old were you when you got the acting bug?
Oh, man. I was 32 years old. And check this out. I'm working at Lincoln High School. I had worked in the educational system for over 14 plus years. And I'm like, I need change. Like, I was overwhelmed. I was done with the politics. I was always just wanted to help the kids. You know what I mean? It was just got a little crazy. So I wasn't enjoying getting up to go to work. And that's when I knew I needed change. And I'm sitting in my room, and I'm like reflecting on my life at age 32. And I'm like, okay, what's something that I would want to do that I haven't explored or that I would want to pursue? Out of nowhere, bro. It was like a little download. Acting. How about you go act? I'm like, okay, I'm going to act. I literally Googled how to be an actor in Hollywood, bro. I had no connections to Hollywood. That led me down a little path to get to the Jim Carey Yes Man movie as an extra. And it was a hilarious experience. That's where I caught the bug, because I was part of this one big scene where we're in a convention and we're all naked supposedly, and we're all being taught to say yes, yes, yes to life, right? And it's hilarious because, like I would say a third of the 400 people that were there were actually naked, right? They were put in like the end of the rows and the front of the rows. I chose to wear my little skin-colored briefs, right? But I said this. I said, if I can show my belly to the world, I can do anything. And just to see Jim Carey act, brother, just to be a part of this big movie, I caught the bug. You know what I'm saying?
That is
I was
awesome.
like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. It's pretty cool,
Good
man.
Good story. So I know Hollywood, like many places, is at a standstill because of COVID-19. And besides Selena on Netflix and the new app, Earn Your Life, and your own podcast, are there any future projects that we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah. Right now, I just directed and produced. I just delivered it yesterday, as a matter of fact, a TV pilot called The Pugilist, and it's kind of like a American Ninja Warrior, American Gladiator, but focused on veterans type of show. A veteran created the show. It's pretty awesome. And I just finished that. And I had Flip Rodriguez from American Ninja Warrior as a host, and Maxine from WWE Wrestling as host as well. It was really, really cool project. We had a blast shooting that. I have 4 movies lined up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start filming finally next week in LA, and I'm excited about that as well. But I have 4 movies lined up, brother. What a blessing. I'm ready to go hit the ground running, once this COVID is opened up even more,
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
Listen, since it's Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm going to list a few names, and I want you to tell me the first thing that pops in your head, okay?
Okay.
So, number 1, Desi Arnaz.
A role model, my brother.
Jennifer Lopez.
Gorgeous and talented.
Okay.
I love her. She's one of my favorites.
Rita Moreno.
A legend. A true legend, my brother. True legend.
Edward James Olmos.
A pioneer. A pioneer and a teacher.
Freddie Prinze.
Man, that's another pioneer right there, my brother. He was one of the first, I would say an amazing soul and a pioneer as well.
Yep, all pioneers. Wanted to mention that because they're all my favorites.
Yeah, they're amazing. You got a great taste, I'll tell you.
I'm going to add your name onto it, okay?
Oh, my brother, you're so sweet, man. I love you, brother. Thank you for that, man.
All right, David Fernandez Jr., you are always welcome on this podcast. Thank you for talking to me, taking the time out of your busy schedule to support this Latino and this new podcast.
Yeah, my brother, I'm super excited for you. I wish you the best. I'm so happy to be a part of it and be, the first one, brother. And man, let's skyrocket, bro. Let's go. Let's go on a winning streak and kick butt. Let's go.
God bless you, my friend.
Same to you, my brother. I love you, man. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for listening. Check me out at Carlos Tonight on Twitter and Instagram, and Carlos Tonight Podcast on Facebook for more on the show and upcoming guests. My theme was created and performed by Skin Gales. The show was produced by yours truly, Carlos Correa. Carlos Tonight is available every other Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts.